Hello Reds all around the world, this is Mick from MUFC Realist TV bringing you a groundbreaking premiere of the Football Agent Transfer Talk Show. This is one of a kind, unique concept that no one else has done before, as content creators usually bring in the likes of journalists like Fabrizio Romano, David Ornsteins, Laurie Whitwells, and you name it. What? I've been wanting to do this for a while and I've been promoting this, but here we go. Here is the premiere actually of it. The reason why I'm doing this is for you fans, for the community to understand what's going on in the transfer market, the ins and outs, and what better way is to bring agents into the show. Because why? Agents talk directly to the clubs that represent the players, they talk to Manchester United, they know it's the ins, the outs, the targets, and also they talk with other clubs around the world in the continent of Europe. And today we are actually going to discuss Manchester United targets, which is the striker position, the midfield position, and the right back position. So without any further ado, I would like to bring in my colleague, my friend from the industry, Mr. David Lavelle from 365 Football Management Show. Please stay tuned, get into the game, like and subscribe. Are you ready? Here we go.
Frenkie. Just on that, you're obviously very clear you want a holding midfielder, and obviously you're very, very heavily linked with Frenkie de Jong.
Many of the injured players like to be available for the game this weekend for those Leão.
You want Frenkie? No, it's about the right place, and there are many, but I cannot give comments on the player who's on the contract in another club when we are.
Hello and welcome to MUFC Realist TV. I'm your host, Mick, and today I have a very special guest, David Lavelle. How are you, sir?
How you doing, Mick? You all right?
Yeah, I'm all right, basically. Having some, problems with the internet, so we're doing this on Zoom for some reason. I'm kind of traveling. I'm in Thailand, and it's kind of a little bit of a monsoon. It's dripping down, so when it's raining, it's kind of, the internet goes down. But how you been? It's been a long time we've spoken. How are you holding up? How's your World Cup experience? All good?
Yeah, it's been great. It's I've got always have it on in the office in the background, so the odd game I've been jumping and sitting. I've got a sofa in my office as well, so the odd game I've been slacking off a bit and sitting and watching the games. But it's been great. It's been a real mixed bag, which is great to see. It's been very competitive. That would have been beat 5-6-0 years ago aren't getting beat. Yeah. Like Saudi Arabia, shock. Morocco, shock. And shock. It's been absolutely crazy but fantastic World Cup. So yeah, it's been very good.
Who's been the standout player for you in Coddington from your agent's perspective, Ice?
I think last night was a big call for Portugal to leave Ronaldo on the bench. Young player came on. He'd scored 30-35 minutes international football prior to last night. Leaving Ronaldo on the bench, substituting for him, and he comes on and gets a hat trick. And funny enough, the same player I had been speaking to Rui Costa about in the summer window, and there was a figure. There was a couple of clubs in the UK were interested in him, and there was a figure of around 40 million euros being batted about. You look at his performance last night, and that would have been a steal. It would have been a steal. So yeah, it's a good platform for any player. And last night just proves exactly that. Yeah.
The World Cup is the biggest shopping window, especially now. It's a kind of a little bit of an unusual situation when playing the World Cup in the middle of the winter, right, in January. So anyway, that's like, as we said, like it's the biggest shopping window, so anything can happen afterwards. So that's why I was asking you, who's your biggest surprise, eh?
Yeah, listen, there's one or two there have shown through, but I just think he's just put himself in the shop window, and I think he's put a couple of zeros behind his name now, which is great. He's only a young player. What age is he? 20, 21? So fantastic.
Fantastic. Without any further ado, and I mean, so rude of me, I need to sort of introduce you to the audience. For you that haven't watched, MUFC Realist TV before, and David has actually been on before, one of these Super Sundays, like when we have match previews. But I want to take the opportunity to, let you know who David is, what he does, so I pass the kind of microphone over to David. So David, tell the audience what you do, how long you've been an agent, and what players and clubs you're kind of in talks to on a daily basis.
Okay, so I am the owner, the MD of 365 Football Management, based in the UK and Barcelona. I've been an agent myself now for approximately 8 years. We work directly for probably 90% of the Premier League clubs, a lot of Championship clubs, along with some of the bigger clubs in Europe, the likes of your Napoli's, your Real Betis, etc. And we've been involved in the likes of Donny van de Beek, Reguilón. So yeah, I mean, we're well established, well recognized, well renowned and trusted agency. And we've been about. So yes,
it's all about trust at the end of the day, isn't it?
Oh, listen, it's a cutthroat game. It's all about trust. There's so many. I think you and I have probably discussed this off air before, but there's so many agents out there that don't know what they're doing, and they come in through the back door when FIFA, decided that we don't need to sit an exam anymore, so you just pay your money to the FA, and all of a sudden you're a football agent. And I think that was the downfall. Now they are bringing it back next year, which I'm pleased to hear. But
no, trust me, I'm sitting the exam as we speak.
You are?
Yeah.
So
I am
it's
sitting in Thailand taking it remotely.
Yeah, it's a bit of a nightmare, but
back in the game again.
Yeah, get back into it. But yes, very good. There's a lot of studying involved.
Yeah, I know. It's like it's so much details that goes into it. I mean, you just as a player manager, so like clubs, they don't really take care of the player like you as a player manager take care of the player, the 365 degrees, and I mean, based on your business as well, you pretty much do everything for the player, right?
Yeah, I mean, listen, we're the type of agency that listen, it's not all about the money. You get the boys that won't look after players because there's not X amount of pounds in it or whatever. That's not the case, First of all, you have to establish a relationship with the player, which sometimes is there and sometimes isn't there. If you cannot establish a trusting relationship and if it's from both sides, with the player and the agent, you call it a day. You just call it a day, you move on, and that is. If you get that there and your friends, listen, you'll have a conversation with the player. And I would like to think out of a 30-minute conversation, 20 minutes that it'll be about the family, it'll be about, how's your day been? And the last 10 minutes of that conversation will be, let's get down to football. But that isn't a conversation that happens once a month or once every 6 months. That's a conversation that happens a couple of times a week, and that's
sometimes, yeah. And sometimes you're like the psychologist and the marriage counselor as well, right?
Yeah, you are. That's true, and especially coming out of COVID, when you've got people have to remember that football is a team sport. These guys are in changing rooms having a bit of banter with their colleagues every single day of the week. So we come out of COVID. People were in isolation. The footballers who live by themselves, especially the younger ones who find themselves isolated, didn't have that camaraderie day in, day out. Their mental health was impacted. And anybody who says that's not the case is clearly lying. So that's where the clubs need to step up. The agents need to step up and help these young players through difficult times. And that's one of the major things coming out of COVID for me anyway, or 365 Football Management,
But not only COVID, I mean, in likes from when I'm talking about Manchester United, because we are a Manchester United fan channel. So we're looking at likes of Harry Maguire that suffered a little bit of a mental health as well. We know there wasn't sort of a physical injury. It's down to the agent as well to do the best, to get Harry back on track as well, but also from a club perspective.
Yeah.
But also in terms
Yeah.
of Jadon Sancho that's been taken off the social media a little bit. And, at the end of the day, they're human beings as well, right? So it's just that, people look at them as footballers, but footballers have a life behind, and we don't know really what's going on.
That's it. And I suppose with Sancho as well, you've got to remember the price tag and the pressure that was put on a young kid. It's, and the fans want him to deliver straight away with a price tag like that. It doesn't, I mean, we've seen it time and time and time again. It doesn't always happen. It might take a season or two to bed in, but when they pay a price tag, once again, an astronomical price tag, people expect and fans expect that player to be straight in. And you've got to remember, he wasn't playing in the Premier League either. He's playing the League too. The physicality in the Premier League, the speed of the Premier League, it outweighs the Bundesliga every day of the week. I mean, it's the most physical, the most demanding league in the world.
I just wanted to sort of educate, I know the answer, but I just want to educate the audience as well. Like, obviously you speak to clubs on weekly basis, you get the KPIs, you get the target, you get the transfer lists. In terms of your relationship with Manchester United, since we are a fan channel from Manchester United, how often do you actually speak to Manchester United, and who do you speak with at Manchester United?
So, I mean, Matt Judge, I would have classed as a good friend, and I would have spoke to Matt just before he left on a regular basis. I was actually in contact with John Murtaugh, probably a couple of weeks ago, just finding out requirements for January, both in. But as I say, our relationship with Matt Judge was excellent. Class as a friend, and as I said to you before, that if I called him and he was in a meeting, etc., and he couldn't answer, he always returned the calls. So yeah, we would be in close contact with the club on a regular basis.
It's interesting that you say, because reports within the United fan base is kind of a negative regarding Matt Judge. They say he never picked up his phone. Regarding Jadon Sancho transfer, people calling him, can you tell Matt Judge to pick up his phone? There's kind of those rumors leaking out in the press. Do you think it was just rumors, or was that some truth in it? Or
listen, there's always something behind it. Listen, maybe he was in a meeting. He was busy at the time, couldn't pick up his phone. I suppose really these guys here, they probably get a million calls a day, and they everybody straight away. Especially if it's not coming up, you don't know who it is. My experience, and that's all I can really speak about, is my experience with Matt Judge was he was a gentleman, and that he always, if he couldn't answer the phone, he would always return the calls.
So by speaking to like the sporting directors and the recruitment team, you pretty much, they give you the targets, what they're kind of looking for in a certain way, like the ins, the outs, or
Yeah. So I suppose really with us at the moment, we'll work directly for the clubs, and it's more the outs than the ins. That's a lot of the clubs. Listen, they have their targets. They know before the window opens, or well before the window opens, who they're going to target. They'll have a short list, maybe in the same position, maybe 3 or 4 players in the same position. But as far as players out, they want an assist getting the players out who are on the wage, who they know aren't going to be playing.
Yeah, no, it's fair enough. But from a United fan standpoint, they care about in the January transfer window who's coming in. Knowing that Cristiano Ronaldo is kind of out the door, and of course we've been heavily linked with a couple of strikers, with some midfielders as targets, as a right back as well. So these are the targets, the consistent targets that I've been hearing from Manchester United side. I mean, you spoke to Murtaugh a week ago, 2 weeks ago, or something. Was that pretty much the same, the same targets?
Well, I suppose really we chatted before the World Cup started, so a couple of weeks ago, and at that stage they didn't have any targets allegedly. Now, if I'm quite honest with you, a lot of the clubs that we've been speaking to have been in the same boat. They obviously have their targets. They haven't made any approaches, because of the World Cup. A lot of targets that they're looking for are playing in the World Cup or were playing in the World Cup. So they just want the World Cup done and dusted, and then really, I suppose, they'll make their approaches, and that isn't just United. That's quite a few clubs throughout Europe.
So it's not like what media, some reports are saying, like the Ornsteins and Laurie Whitwells, and saying that United is linked to this, it's very close, those kind of things. Or if we're talking about one player, like, that's been heavily linked, it's actually Kodi Gakpo has been doing quite well for Holland.
Yeah. He's been fantastic. And I suppose really there's an argument there to be made for an increase in what United could have gone for and what United will have to pay. Once again, as we discussed, it's the biggest shop window that there is in football. This is a typical example. Yeah,
I mean, I was reporting on that. Basically, there was a deal to be made back in August, I think it was. July, August, there was a pre-agreement made with PSV, with Van Nistelrooy. The fee was back then about £25 million, if I remember right.
40. Yeah, I think it was about 40 million euros.
Yeah, 40 million euros. Yeah,
something around that price tag, anyway.
So there was kind of like a gentleman's agreement in place, and then Ronaldo happened. Ronaldo stayed, so they never got executed. So that's correct, right? So that's exactly what you've been hearing as well. Yeah. Now it's been like, well reported and well known that Erik ten Hag never sort of deviates from his targets. He's still interested, but of course it's the World Cup. You say everything will happen again. Talks will resume after World Cup, but as I keep seeing that the price has gone up to 75 million euro. Is that correct, mate?
But you've got to remember that the January window is never a cheap window. January window is always a window where people. It's a need. It's a must-need window. So the club is in desperate need to fill that position, and that's exactly what it is. If they can put that off and do a pre-agreement for the summer, fantastic. Might get them, or take the risk and leave it the summer. Might get them slightly cheaper, but the likes of Gakpo, and you have to go for it. You have to go, and other ones. Bellingham, Liverpool, and Bellingham, are they going to pull the trigger in January? The reports are that they will.
Well, there's something we will discuss when we come to the midfielders, I reckon. But
okay.
No, so let's talk about the list that I put together. What I hear, you confirmed it as well. So Kodi Gakpo is definitely on Manchester United radar, right? So talks will resume again, probably most likely after the World Cup, after that finishes. So
I would say just before Christmas starts off.
There's a deal to be made. Like, they have the same agency representation. They've been in close contact before, so it's just a matter of fact. It's like, it's ironically because you could have triggered that 40 million back in the summer. And of course, like, he's been performing quite well in the World Cup, scoring like 3 goals. I think he has, And of course, the value is going to go up. As we said, it's the biggest shopping window. So it's like either pay up but I've seen other links as well for Kodi Gakpo. But I think, if you put it from a 1 to 10, how hot do you think that one could be?
Well, that's been simmering under the surface for quite a while. I would say 70%.
70%?
60-70% at the moment. And once again, Holland are still in the World Cup. God forbid, but the player could get injured. And January. So once again, it all depends on the fitness of the player come January window.
No,
we've never been in this position before, Mick.
No, it's true. This is January.
It's new for everybody. So
No,
say
I've never
we-
seen
we-
it before, so it's unprecedented. But I kind of treat the January as a summer transfer window. So there's
Mm.
money to be spent. I think a lot of clubs will actually go for the January, like, in terms of Arsenal, in terms of United,
Yeah.
Chelsea will definitely go for it as well.
I know Chelsea are linked with midfielders and stuff, but
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's going to be competitive.
Yeah.
Rumors coming out also, João Felix from Atletico. Reports came out that the CEO came out 2 days ago, so he was open to listen to bids. And we know that United were talking to João Felix and his entourage back in summer as well. But the same thing with that Ronaldo stayed.
Yeah.
There's also reports coming out that he's not getting any play time. He's not getting along with the Simeone, which is quite pragmatic. Personally, I think João Felix is a fantastic player. He just ended up at a wrong pragmatic club, which doesn't suit his playing style. And reports is about they bought him for about 110 million euros. So I think they're lowering down the price to 85. Do you see that happening with or do you see that alone with an option to buy, or
It's a tough one because the kid, he was a wonder kid. He's went in there. He hasn't really performed, has he? Really
No.
to the expectations. You're paying a price tag like that, but once again, it's like a Sancho. They went in. They paid the extortionate fee, and he just hasn't taken off as a thought. Is it the could he flourish under Ten Hag? Probably. And I think there could be a deal to be done. I'm sure. I don't know his wage structure, but I'm sure he's on a pretty penny. So there could be a loan with an obligation. There could be a loan. Now I can't really see a loan myself being an option, like a straight loan. I couldn't see that. I think it would have to be a loan with an obligation, or else just a straight buy.
No, it's straight buy. I think Atleti wants to cash out, but as you said, he hasn't really set the world on fire. It was pretty much a hype when they chased his signature, back then as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's smart business if United can do that. Okay, we take him on a 6 months loan with an obligation to buy, because obviously he's not getting any game time. He's not fitting with the system anymore. He's fell out with Simeone. I personally think that there's kind of a talent in there, so definitely he can flourish under Ten Hag. We've seen Eric.
Oh, there certainly is talent there, but once again, at 85 million, you're taking a hell of a risk at that money. Like we've seen the kid play; he's fantastic, and I'm certainly not knocking him. Sometimes it's like Ronaldo and Ten Hag, they just didn't get on.
No,
Felix and Simeone just don't get on. So like as a football fan, forget being the agent or a Liverpool fan or whatever. Being a football fan, I would love to see him going to the right club and doing what he can do and flourish.
Yeah, 100%. He's a talent.
He is a talent.
He's only 22 years of age though, so he's got the world in front of him. 100%. I want to move on to another one which people might have forgot, but I've been keeping my ears a little bit with the Elvis Bosanovic, which is the agent of Benjamin Sesko. Now, I know that he's been speaking to United and both Chelsea just recently, and the RB Leipzig director, the main figure of Red Bull Group, Oliver Mintzlaff, has held both talks with United and Chelsea as well with the potential move. Now he's currently belonging to the sister club, the RB Salzburg, right? So
that's right.
Yeah, and he's going potentially a pre-agreement to RB Leipzig in the summer. But rumors are reporting that saying that they're willing to cash in on Sesko. It will cost about about 21.6 million pounds, but we can see it coming up to the reports up to 45 million euros approximately. He's a fantastic talent. Of course, he's not in the World Cup.
Well, I mean, a player at 21.6 million in the grand scheme of these days is not an expensive player. It's a lot of money, and I'm certainly not knocking the price tag, but for a player of that quality, I think it's a reasonable. I think it's a reasonable deal. 21.6.
Yeah, I mean he's
think it's
tall,
frustrating.
he's athletic, he's kind of like a Haaland type in a way, like, and he's just very strong,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
And there's a lots of
Very
development in him. So I think it's the next upcoming world-class striker, you know, in a few years, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm. Another one that it's final on my list is Mephis Depay. Good old Memphis. He once used to play for United, but he came to United very young, very unexperienced. That didn't work out. Went to Barcelona. And now he went back to Holland. I think, no, where did he go? He went to France, right? And from there, he went to Barcelona. Now, he's a free agent in the summer, but of course not.
Yeah, I think listen, if United pushed it, I think the pie is on colossal wages. I think if United pushed, they could probably get him on a free in January. If not a free, it would be a loan. Sorry, it'd be a small fee. But I can't. Barcelona can't be asking astronomical money when the player's free in the summer. So
another factor also that Barcelona has been reported to in being a little bit of financial troubles right now because they deferred all the, you know, the debts and deferred wages and stuff and creditors going all in on the Champions League, and they fell out the Champions League. They pull all the levers. Yeah. So obviously it's coming out. They are willing to offload him as quick as possible, him and some other players as well, to reduce the wage bill. It's a little bit of a sad story, isn't it? Or not?
Well, it is. But I think it's a sad story in one aspect for one club. But it could be it could be a steal for another club come January. As I say, they want them off the wage bill. I think his wages are colossal. So I genuinely think you probably get them for free in January if you pushed it.
I mean, a smart way. I mean, if you think smart way, if they're going for I mean, Benjamin Sesko for me is a wild card. Definitely, I kind of would put a 5 or 50% for me. Like, you never know, right? At the end of the day, if we were going to do smart business, I would see that take two strikers, for instance, take Mephis Depay on free in January and go for a Kodi Gakpo or João Felix. You know, we know that Erik ten Hag likes all four of them, but at the end of the day, you know,
you can't have them all.
You can't have them all, right? So out of those four, like, you know, who do you foresee being the most likely target, knowing ten Hag and knowing Murtaugh? Gakpo.
I think, yeah, I think they'll have to show a statement of intent to the fans that they're going to go and get the players. You know, United are the biggest club in the world, and they haven't been producing for many a year. They brought in ten Hag, you know, and they have to make a statement, and you know, have to support him and bring in the players he wants. Now, you are 40 million, you know, and you say you're going to support him, you have to stop up money and pay the 40 million. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, you know, the price tag will go up definitely, but I don't see it up to. It's all media spin. I think it's 75 million is over the top. I think it might end up in 60 million, like, which is overinflated anyway. But, you know, you pay for.
Remember, for a club like PSV, that's a hell of a price tag for those type of clubs.
The smaller clubs, yeah.
Yeah. So it's a big Dutch club, but compared to some of the leagues in Europe, if you look at the price tags and the transfers in Holland, there's a hell of a difference between that and the Bundesliga or the La Liga, you know.
Okay, so out of all these four, I mean, we rate then Kodi Gakpo is the most likely target to get over the line for now. For now. Well,
I think you can look at Gakpo, but you can also look at Dempsey if you get him, or Depay. Sorry, if you got him on a free, you know what's going to cost you the wages. So yeah, I mean, I would go Gakpo, but Depay, if you can twist Barca's arm to get a good deal there, which I would do if I was working as an agent for Man United. I would be going in there and I would be going for the jugular.
Mm.
What I mean by that is they're vulnerable at the moment. They've got a player here who's on massive salary.
Mm.
Let's take advantage of it. Let's take advantage and get the player out.
One thing I forgot is about Juventus that's about to, you know, the whole board resign. But
yeah, I mean, there's actually a couple of stories that come up. Van de Beek was actually mentioned in as well, a swap deal, which has been brought to light as well in media speculation in the last week over that. So it'll be very interesting to see the outcome of the investigation.
Okay, fair enough. We will talk about the outs later on, but I want to focus, as I have 10 minutes left, on my Zoom. I'm not a premium member of Zoom. Usually we use my StreamYard, but it's not really connecting today for some reason. So let's dive into the midfielders. A lot of people have been talking about Enzo Fernandes in Benfica. They just joined Benfica, but in this summer window. But reports are saying that are willing to let him go for a right fee. And the 21-year-olds were linked with a potential switch to Old Trafford in the summer, but Benfica won the race for this signature. You know, they signed him for a 12 whooping million pounds from River Plate. Now, after a successful World Cup, like, of course, Benfica is reporting wanting about 100 million euro for him if people want to sign him in January. That's madness, isn't it?
Well, as I said earlier on, with Rui Costa, Benfica are a club that stick to their guns. It was a club that we put an offer in for a player that they had in the summer, and the offer wasn't far off the mark of what they were asking, and Rui Costa stuck to his guns and said, "We're looking X amount for the player," and would not budge on that. So
Rui Costa didn't budge at all. He said no.
No, he didn't. He did not budge one penny, and that's a gods. I spoke to him directly.
So if it's 100 million, it's 100 million. That's it. No negotiation. That's it.
I think that's what it'll be. You know.
Rui Costa. It's a tough customer, isn't it? Right.
Well, he's not a tough customer. He's a straight talking customer, which sometimes is the best. He tells you what the player's going to cost. There may on certain individual players there may be slight wiggle room. But there's not going to be significant wiggle room. So and sometimes that.
I personally like him. I personally would like to see him come to United, but I don't see this happening this January transfer window. So I put like a 2, like a 20%.
Yeah, I can't see it myself. Listen, United aren't going to pay 100 million.
No,
not for an unestablished player. You know.
Let's talk about Jude Bellingham. A lot of United supporters are crying for Jude. I mean, he's a fantastic talent, but it's been reported that Liverpool has kind of agreed some personal terms. Well, but it's normal practice that a lot of clubs agree personal terms. It's not a pre-agreement. You know, a player can agree, the agent can agree, personal terms with as many clubs as possible. It's not a guarantee that you're coming, correct?
Listen, personal terms are very, very, very easy to get over the line. Now, I was on this particular subject. I was speaking to one of the Sky Sports presenters this afternoon about this. Yes, he did say apparently there's something in place over Liverpool in relation to personal terms, but he did say that if you look at the whole England squad that and the World Cup, he seems to be establishing himself or putting himself out there with quite a lot and hanging around with quite a lot of Liverpool squad. So if there's anything in it, I don't know. But the reports are that the deal's done with Liverpool, unless, and this is a big one, unless somebody comes up with more money. Like Man City, Man United.
The question is, can FSG afford it? You know, or there's been reports that Liverpool is up for sale. Same with Manchester United. It all depends who the new owners, XYZ. But I don't say rule out Manchester United because I know that Manchester United are interested in Bellingham. So it's going to be a bidding war. What'd you say?
Yeah, I think if you look at the between Liverpool and United, the potential buyers that are being touted about, I don't think they're going to be shy money. So I don't think it's going to be like United now, like Glazers, where you have to beg for every penny. I think, and with Liverpool as well, I think it'll be more like the Chelsea of old with Abramovich.
Yeah,
It'll
yeah.
be like Man City.
Now,
You know,
listen,
wait,
there's going to be a lot of clubs interested in Real Madrid, but I think that he wants to come on to England. That's for sure. That's my
I think
hunch.
that, listen, I can see him moving. If he doesn't move in January, he'll move in the summer. But Liverpool are very. If you look at Liverpool's tactics, it's January windows. That's whenever they've pulled in some of the bigger names in the January windows. So is this one that you know could be done once again? We look at the World Cup. Look what he's done in the World Cup, and it's a fantastic. He's the best player England have got.
100%.
So I was actually looking. I was looking at the best team.
His statue looks like he's playing like a 25, 26-year-old.
Oh, he's out of this world. And as I say, I was looking at the best 11 at the World Cup. So far, Harry Maguire was in it, which to me is a joke. But he's had a good World Cup so far, but not outstanding. And Bellingham wasn't in it. And Bellingham is by far the best player in the pitch.
What else is important to understand how the player picks the club? Is it the sporting project, or is it the manager, or is it the location?
It's everything. It's everything. It's feeling that the warmth or want from the team, from the manager, from the sporting director, the effort put in, the gaffer, speaking of the gaffer and seeing his vision, where he expects him to go, and you know what the player's role is going to be in the club. The training facilities, obviously. You've heard Ronaldo, obviously, in the Piers Morgan thing about the facilities and how backward United facilities are. So once again, is that a big tick or a big red mark against the club? Yeah, of course it is.
Okay.
So yeah,
we just have to wait and see. So it could be a 50-50 on that one, 40% for now. But do you think that the move will happen in January or in the summer?
If I'm honest, I'm not just saying this as a Liverpool fan, I think
yeah, I know you're a Liverpool fan. It's okay.
No, but I genuinely do think Liverpool will strike in January, unless once again, unless somebody comes in with a massive offer.
Yeah, if you snooze, you lose. Like if you triggered in January.
Exactly.
If you splash the cash in January, you get the player. You know, if you don't want the competition. Cool. All right. So another one that keeps bites the dust is Frenkie de Jong. Reports coming out again yesterday that Barcelona have approached Frenkie de Jong's entourage, which is HCM Sports Management, in effort to lower down the Dutchman's wage and free up funds for upcoming transfers and move. This is according to the Daily Mail, and I'm also in touch with HCM Sports Management. This is a saga that keeps coming up, with legal contracts and, player wages, deferred wages, and now financial situation with Barcelona. Of course, they're going to try the best to sort of survive.
Well, I put it this way, Mick, is they had the opportunity to get him this summer. Barcelona, let's call it how it is, screwed the player on a transfer due to 18 million euros, which was owed deferred payments, therefore making the player unable to move because they weren't willing to step up. So why, as the player's agent, I would be asking, why should we do you a favor and take a pay cut on a contract that we've already agreed, when in the summer you could have got rid of us with a smaller payment? I don't understand Barcelona's thinking behind the player doing them a favor, because being honest, if I was a player's agent, I'd be saying, don't do it. Don't do it. You had the opportunity to get rid of him, and you didn't take it.
We see the saga continues. I've been hearing there might be a potential loan to Manchester United with an option to buy. The United will take on his full wages and buy him in the summer, or they go in striking direct. So I can see this happening. I can see this on a hot meter being like a 60%, 50-60%.
Yeah, it's always been around 60%, hasn't it? But once again,
We know,
depends how quick-
we know that United wants him. We know that Ten Hag wants him. So yeah,
Yeah,
I don't want to
yeah,
talk more about him. So anyway, we see how it goes. All right then. So another midfielder that came out just recently is the Real Sociedad's Martin Zubimendi, which Ten Hag believes would work well alongside Casemiro. Obviously, he's got a contract until 2027, but the reports coming out that the club Real Sociedad is, has a release clause on 51 million euro. There is some legs in that, I think. Or is it something that you heard as well?
Well, what I've heard, I haven't heard of a 51 million release clause. I heard there's a price tag on him of 80 million euros.
80 million. That's kind of like somebody that's on the list,
Yeah,
but probably
yeah.
not his preferred target.
Listen, he's a cracking player. Real that obviously give him a contract to 2027 for the sole purpose of the player. That's why you've got these long contracts with these type of players, so that the likes of United and the bigger clubs have to come in and have to pay this extortion fee to release. So as I say, that's why it's a 2027 contract. Good player for the money. I think he would certainly add to United, but
I don't know much about him, but is he more of a deep CDM type, or is he number 8 or 6?
Yeah, he is. Yeah. But once again, I mean, this is like, you look at Mick, it's like a kid going into a toy shop at Christmas is exactly what every scenario here we went through tonight. The players linked are fantastic. Another, it's you can't have it all. You have to you have to pick and what the budget will allow. I can't see this one happening, if I'm quite honest with you. And the reason why is dejong comes, which is a possibility. You can't bring another midfielder in. So for me, percentage wise, 35-40%.
So where would you put your eggs in the basket? Would you go on Frenkie de Jong in January, or?
Well, I'll tell you, another one that's been linked with is Rafael Leão from AC Milan.
From AC Milan, yes.
So they've been linked with him. So there is a possibility on that. Now the word in the grapevine is that's a strong one.
Strong link.
Strong link from what I hear.
So it's a strong bow, right? Yeah. Strong bow.
It's a strong bow. So they're the two that I would concentrate on at the moment.
Well, there we have it. That's more than I knew. That's something what Santa bring to under the Christmas tree. So that one has legs.
That one has legs, from what I believe.
I don't know much about the players, so yeah, enlighten me. Is he more of a ball carrying player, or is a number 8? What is he?
He's a very, very good player with a price tag.
I don't watch much Serie A.
He's a very strong winger. He's more of a left winger.
Left winger.
Yeah, he's very left winger. With a price tag to go with it. He can play centre park. He can play left wing. I think you're looking around 80 to 85 million for him.
Hefty price tag.
We'll have to see what comes down to. It's once again hefty price tag.
Hefty price tag. All right, so there's no more midfield targets that I know, unless you have
20
something.
million and get them for 20 million.
20 million?
Have to pay over the odds, won't they?
Yeah. In regards to the right back situation,
20 million definitely not.
We know that Ten Hag is happy with Diego Dalot. Obviously he came out the other day and praised the players that's playing in the World Cup. Diego Dalot being one of them, and Bruno Fernandes as well. But we definitely need a sort of a number 2, because Diego cannot play week in, week out. So there's been reports from what I heard, and just want to cross-check with you as well. Might be that they might bring back Ethan Laird from QPR, back from loan. But otherwise, its targets being linked to is number 1, Denzel Dubfries from Inter Milan. No, you've been dealing a little bit with Inter Milan and I think it was Napoli as well, so you know those
Yeah,
guys.
very,
But
very good player.
yeah, is it true what I've been hearing that
Yeah.
it's a sort of 50 million price tag, but also links from Arsenal and Chelsea?
I wouldn't be surprised if you're in and around that money. Once again, it's going to be a backup player. Ethan Laird, very good, very, very good young player. I think he really does deserve a chance. Would you bring him back? I certainly would bring him back till the end of the season and see where you sit.
Yeah, but it is still a lot of
You know,
games
you've
to
got to
be
remember all these
played,
40, 50, 60
Yeah.
million.
Hmm. I think Ethan Laird is
Oh no, but
fantastic talent.
there is certainly a lot of games to be played, but you've got to remember.
Hmm.
I think
Yep.
I think the young kid needs a chance. I think he needs to step up. Once again, you can't. We're throwing all these big names around, and all the big price tags that go with it. You've got to remember, financial fair play has to come into at some part. So they need to define what parts of the park they really need the most. And when you've got somebody there who's already on your books and you call them back from a loan, you know, I just think you've got Deloitte there who's doing a fantastic job. Ethan Laird, he'll step in as a number two if and when required, and a very good number two. I just think if it was me, I wouldn't be banning anybody at this.
I
This
couldn't
window.
agree more with you that, David, because I think that, you know, barring that, you know, there is academy players like under Ten Hag, it's been given the chance, like likes of Garnacho, a youngster that's doing madness at the moment.
Yeah.
Giving the Ethan Laird has been a fantastic academy player. You know, he's doing madness at QPR as well. To bring him back, to give him like as an understudy to Deloitte, I think it's the smart thing to do, or leave him for another, you know, for the remaining season to develop. But there's so many games coming up. We have the FA Cup, the Carabao Cup, the Europa League. So there's going to be game time.
Yeah, there's certainly. Listen, he won't be. Let's not beat about the bush. He won't be. He'll be number two, but he won't be sitting on the bench every game. There's certainly the squad rotation, and there will be game time from, and good game time. So, I think that would be the wise thing to do.
Yeah, that might happen though. But if you look at Denzel Dumfries, though, you know, we've been heavily linked with him since even last summer. You know, do you think that if we trigger that 50 million, let's say, you know, do you think he will come? Do you think Inter will sell him?
Well, they've no choice. If you trigger a 50 million euro release clause, that sort of Inter's hands are tied. So it really comes down to what you can agree with the player on salary and personal terms. Once again, we touched on personal terms earlier on. They're never really hard to get over the line. You know, you always get the one that there's something daft put into personal terms. What's less than 99.9% of them get over the line. You know, so if United wanted him and are willing to pay the 15 million, willing to, you know, pay the player what he wants or come to an agreement there on personal terms, why can't I can't see a reason why it wouldn't be done.
Well, he's done a good World Cup though, and I know that Erik ten Hag is eyeballing him. He likes him. You know, he wanted him in the summer. So one thing that we learned that Erik ten Hag seldom deviates from his target. If he doesn't get him in the summer, he'll revisit him again. So another target as well, what people are talking about is Jeremy Frimpong from Bayer Leverkusen in Germany, Bundesliga. Which is a price tag set on 21 million. That's a quite cheap price, isn't it? For a talented player.
I can't remember what age he is. He's a very, very good player. 21 million in this day and age isn't a lot of money.
I think he's about 21, 22 as well in that bracket.
Yeah. So, you know, very, very, very good player. 21 million. Is it worth a punt? I would certainly, if that's a position he's looking at, and he's not willing to take Ethan Laird, back from QPR. He wants him maybe to stay there and get a bit more playing time. That's certainly a player that would be the one I'd be going for.
Oh, I mean, it will be more like a unsensitive transfer, like Malacia. They went like for they took a punt, right? It was like, what was it, 17 million, and that worked out quite well.
Yeah, I mean, listen, 21 million this day and age isn't a lot of money for a player.
No,
who's
for a
be,
backup, right back.
No, certainly not. Certainly not. You know,
Dutch as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, is there anything else that you can think about? I mean, is that pretty much it? Because I think we exhausted everything, and these are the targets that I know. We're not looking at centre back, a goalkeeper, nothing about that.
I haven't heard of anything. Now, one thing I have been surprised at is that there has been no talk of any centre backs in the window. I thought that's a place where Maguire's had a half decent World Cup, but you've got to remember, once again, I think we touched on earlier on, he wasn't in a great place for United before he went to the World Cup. There was talk that he might even start for England, even though he's been a rock for them. But as he can't come back, is Ten Hag going to give him a chance? You just don't know. Is he going to have that confidence in him? Maybe Maguire might come back a different player from the World Cup. Be good to see, if he did. But if he doesn't, do they then have to look in a January window and bring another centre back in? I think that could be a possibility, but they haven't been linked with anybody.
No, in a sense, like, Southgate's style fits Maguire better than Erik ten Hag.
Yeah, of course it does.
Yeah, and in a way, I mean, I think the preferred choice partnership has been Varane and, of course, Martinez. Fantastic, Lisandro Martinez. And so I don't see what I heard, he's not fancying the playing style of Maguire without being harsh. I've been hearing also that he was on the transfer list in January, but he couldn't find the club. So I just
in the summer, you mean? Or this January?
January.
I would be surprised if he's on the transfer list in January, if I'm quite honest with you.
No, in summer there was rumored from his agent that were talking to
listen. I mean, I was speaking directly with Matt Judge on the summer transfers, and that's one that never came up. Okay, it was linked. He was linked with
that was just paper talk, right?
Well, I mean, I spoke directly to Matt Judge, and that was certainly not one of the names that was mentioned. So, I would take that with a pinch of salt.
Yeah, but could you see that, like, give him a little bit of a chance over, and possibly put him on a transfer list over the summer? Or
I would say more towards the summer. If he's going to go anywhere, I'd say go in the summer. I don't think it's a player that's going to go in
it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to get rid of a centre back in the middle of the season, especially when you have Europa League, FA Cup, Carabao Cup, the Premier League. The games come thick and fast, and injuries.
Yeah, I just don't think it's one it'll take part in January. I think if I go, it'll be in the summer. Listen, he could come back from the World Cup, Mick, and he could be on top form. He might get that maybe the World Cup's what he needed to get that confidence back.
Yeah.
Any games I watched him play before, he had no confidence. He was sluggish. He was slow. He wasn't driving forward with the ball, which he did before. At Leicester City, that was one of the attributes that why United paid such big money for him, because he used to drive forward with the ball. He hasn't done that for quite a while with United. So I suppose, listen, we can't really say anything until the World Cup's over. We'll see when he comes back after his first few games, and then assess whether they're going to replace him in January, or maybe they might even keep him. So you don't know. Yeah.
I always say, ain't over to the fat lady sings, which is opera.
That's exactly it.
That's the end. In terms of the outs, done, because we've spoken about the ins, but the outs is equally important to get rid of the wage bill and get rid of the deadwoods. Like, anything that you heard about Aaron Wan-Bissaka, or anything that's kind of on the out list, which is more.
Wan-Bissaka's been on the list for quite a while, to be honest with you. There was links with Crystal Palace come back, and that never seems to have any legs. You know, if they want him, he's there for the taking. Let's be honest. So, and he has been there for the taking for quite a while. So, is Crystal Palace a reality? Listen, he did well there. Be good to see him come back, and a player of his caliber shouldn't be sitting on the bench. He should be playing. He's still young enough. So yeah, Crystal Palace, or maybe even a loan spell abroad.
Certainly, like, worked on the All League on a Solskjaer football style, but doesn't work for Erik ten Hag. Yeah, I agree. He's fantastic. He's very good defensive, spider legs, but going forward, it's been a little bit of a weak. And I feel sorry for the bloke, but you know, it's football at the end of the day. You know, it's playing time, and if you can go back to Crystal Palace, but I guess the stumbling block is the asking price, or you know, we bought him for.
Well, I don't think it's the asking price. I think from what I believe, the asking price wasn't going to be extortionate. So I don't know what the God's honest truth is. I don't know what the stumbling block is. But there's obviously something there. Will he go abroad on loan? I don't know how long he's got left on his contract. I'll just have a look now. But I don't think he's has he got long left? Let me see his contract. So he's got a year left in his contract there. So there's a possibility there that you could probably get him out for very little money at the moment. Would you get him out? I think you'd probably get him out for 8-9 million.
Okay, I had a little bit of issue with my camera. I realized that right now, but it's okay. It's a kind of a podcast. No, it's a fine. I mean, yeah, best of luck for him. I mean, yeah.
Oh yeah,
definitely. Wish him all the best. It doesn't work out, but as a player, you need playing time. Otherwise, you're just stagnating.
Yeah, of course.
I'm thinking of likes of Phil Jones, the legendary that was there. Like, you know, he was actually the last, Premier League winner. And he was there under Louis van Gaal as well. And he's been surviving. Yeah. But, you know, I'm just surprised he's still at the club under that contract.
I mean, Phil Jones, 30 years old. I'm just actually looking at his contract now. So his contract's up in June. And I can't see.
They're just fishing it out.
I think. Well, I think he's on 120,000 a week.
That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money.
He hasn't been playing. I think he had the opportunity to go to Bordeaux for a season which he didn't take up. Will he retire after, or will he maybe go to the Championship? I don't know. He's once again, is the pay as you play contract because he's always injured? Is that what he might get in the Championship?
But is he really injured all the time? I mean, I just wonder. Like, a lot of us fan base wonder what's going on with Phil Jones. Is he injured? Is it mental health? Or what is it?
Well, the reports are that he was injured for quite a lot of the time. But once again, very good servant to United. Just a shame he hasn't fit in over the last couple of years. I mean, he played a game last season, wasn't it? And I think he played a stormer. Okay, he was the reason for one of the goals, but apart from that, he came on for a guy who hadn't played competitive football for so many years. I can't remember what it was. It was.
No, but he plays for the badge. He loves the club. He doesn't want to go anywhere. So if he retires. Kudos. It seems like he's just fizzing out his contract. End of summer. He's off the wage bill. Off you go, pretty much. Anyone else that you keep hearing, like Pelistri, is going on loan?
That's another young player. I mean, Pelistri is a fantastic young talent. Need to go back out on loan. So, listen, I suppose really the world's his oyster. There will be a couple of clubs coming in for him in January.
He's done a good World Cup though. You know, he's been shining a bit. Yeah.
So you've got the opportunity. I don't think I don't think it'll be mega bucks to get the kid out on loan. I think he's loaned. He's contracted to United for another couple of years, if I remember rightly. 20. I'm just looking now. 2025. So once again, it's a kid with a long contract. And they give him a 5-year contract. Very, very good kid. Just hasn't kicked on, I suppose, really as much as United thought he would kick on. But he's 20 years old. Listen, he's still very, very young.
Oh, I think they should keep him. I think he's a fantastic talent. 100%. The little Messi dancer, I call him. Like, he's same gravity as Messi. Like, the way he carries the ball. It's so difficult to take the ball out of him. You know what I mean? So it's.
I mean, let's be honest. Like, if you look at it from a financial point of view, from United, I wouldn't say it would be on mega bucks. Like when I say mega bucks, what compared to other players and there's more senior players in the club. What are they going to get from? Would they get 5 million? Excuse me. Would they get 5 million? I don't know. I don't think so. So is it worth taking a risk? Put them out on loan, see how they get on.
I just want to round up, this podcast and chat with you, touching base on a play that you know well. Frenkie, not Frenkie de Jong. Sorry, didn't mean to say Frenkie de Jong, but Donny van de Beek. You once were involved with the Everton loan deal. He came back from injuries. Fair enough. I still rate Donny very high. Of course, he's been rusty. Hasn't really set the world on fire. A little bit out of form. What's the future looking like for Donny at the moment? I think a lot of United fans has kind of lost the patience, about Donny.
No, I think Ten Hag has still got confidence in him. You've got to remember he came back from Everton with a knock, and has never been really fit since, properly fit. It seems now that he's back, he's training, he's ready and raring to go. Listen, we all know he's got the talent. We've seen it before. He's never really featured under Ten Hag at United because he's been injured. I think they give him a go until the end of the season, see how he gets on, and then if he's not playing or not, if they reevaluate things. There's
nothing that you heard like that he's going on a loan or anything. He's staying there 100%, under 10.
From what now? I suppose really once again, Ten Hag has said that he's part of his squad and moving forward, part of his plans. Depends if they bring another midfielder in the window. Would they put him out on loan again? But really, what is the point? I don't see the point of putting him out on loan and loan. It's either make a decision. He's part of your plans. That's 100%, and you have to run with that. Or listen, we need to just get rid of him. But the price tag that the paid for him. I kind of
feel sorry for him. It's kind of being wasted. How long has he been there? 2 years now, right?
He's been there 2 years or thereabouts.
Wasted, never been given a chance. So I hope no. It's not fair. We're not going to talk about it, but under Ten Hag, I believe he's got a big part to play in the next season. I mean, after January onward.
I would love to see him. He's a talented player. I would love to see him kicking on. Whenever I put him into Everton, and you look at he started 5 games for Everton, came off the bench for 2, and every one of the 5 games that he started, he was the best player on the pitch for both teams, not just for Everton. You look at the stats; he was the best player on the pitch. Unfortunately, picked up a knock, and listen, it spiraled from there for him, and it hasn't really. He hasn't regained that. He keeps on getting those knocks. So hopefully, if he stays fit for a while, he'll get the opportunity on the Ten Hag, and we all know he can do it. We've seen him for Ajax doing it.
100%,
very, very, very talented player. So I think 2 years there, he needs a crack at the whip, and I think if he gets a crack at the whip, he'll take it with both hands.
Well, thank you, David, so much. I think you better rest your voice. I know you had you're suffering a little bit from a flu. Thank you for taking your time from the first episode of the agent transfer talk show. We will do another one. Of course, we will do this to the end of January transfer window. Depends on how busy you are, but we can have sort of weekly catch up or bi-weekly. But it's been a pleasure to hear from somebody that's actually working closely with the sporting director, with the clubs, not only Manchester United, but all across Europe as well. So thank you for coming on board, David, and thank you for sharing all the insights.
Thank you for the invite.
Right, buddy. You nurse your cold
Paul.
well. Okay, and I speak to you soon.
Okay, listen. Enjoy Thailand. We'll speak to you next week.
Yeah, definitely. We're eating all the street food. You know what I mean? Enjoying the weather, but it's a little bit still monsoon weather. It's raining, but yeah, you should come down here. But I heard you're going to the World Cup, mate. So
okay, mate, go to the World Cup next week. I'll see how you
send me a ticket, though, mate.
All right, mate.
All right, mate. Take it easy.
Take it easy.
Guys,
bye-bye.
Thank you so much. And that was a pleasure to have David Lavelle. As we heard a lot of things going on with the ins and outs. Please like and subscribe to our channel. And sorry for the technical delays. We were supposed to do my StreamYard didn't work because of monsoon rain. The internet was down, so we had to do it through my mobile internet and do a Zoom call. But I hope really you enjoyed the show. Please like and subscribe, and see you till next time. Ciao. Bye.